Today we will walk the section of the Camino de Santiago between Pamplona and Puente la Reina. First, we will leave the city and its urbanizations to climb the 350 meters high Sierra del Perdón. From the top, under the wind turbines and next to a famous monument to the Pilgrim, we will enjoy a view of half of Navarra. Already on the descent, we will join the other branch of the French Way, the one coming from Jaca. And all the pilgrims united, we will cross the Arga River through the pass that gives its name to Puente de la Reina. Let's go! We leave the old part of Pamplona through its Calle Mayor. It was the main street. It arose 8 centuries ago around the businesses that were being created related to the Camino de Santiago. At the end of the street we find the Church of San Lorenzo. It houses a large chapel dedicated to San Fermín, patron saint of Navarre and of the most famous festivals of the city. The Way of St. James in Pamplona is not to be missed, as it is marked on the ground every 5 meters with a metal seashell. After leaving the old part of the city, we will walk next to the Taconera Park. We will cross a large green area surrounding the citadel, the main medieval fortress of the city. We will leave Pamplona through the campus of the University of Navarra. Here you can approach its central building, where you will receive the seal of the university, and where you will be given the Jacobea Universitaria accreditation, a certificate to be stamped by the universities you pass along the way. After the university we will ascend to Cizur Menor. At the top on the left we will see the San Juanista church. In summer it can be visited. Today the church and one of the towers are still standing. It was once an important place of pilgrim assistance for the centuries-old Order of Malta. We have another video on the YouTube channel if you want to know more about this order and its presence on the Camino de Santiago. We continue our ascent. We will pass by the uninhabited village of Guendulen and arrive at Zariquiegui, where its 13th century church stands out. After it, we have the slow ascent to the top of the mountain range under the constant sound of the wind turbines. In the final part of our ascent, we will pass by the Erreniega fountain, which has a tradition. The legend tells us that a pilgrim arrived here exhausted, faint, dying of thirst, and a sinister figure, the devil, appeared to him and offered him fresh, crystalline water in exchange for renouncing his pilgrimage. Our pilgrim denied the demon and said that he would rather die of thirst than fall into temptation. Then, the devil disappeared and a rider on a white horse appeared, descended to the pilgrim's side, struck the rock with a seashell, and a spring of fresh and crystalline water gushed forth. It was naturally our apostle Santiago who came to reward the pilgrim for his faith. And since then water comes out of the fountain to the joy of all pilgrims and locals who are responsible for telling us this tradition. Shortly after, we will reach the top. Under the wind turbines and at the foot of the road we will find the monument in homage to the Pilgrim, a now famous stamp of the Jacobean route. The sculptor shows us the meaning of this sculpture, explains the history of the Camino de Santiago. It begins with the first solitary figure, as if sniffing the air, starting the Jacobean route. It is followed by several figures spaced in time, but they are already carrying equipment, with more people, until reaching the bulk of the sculpture. It is the peak, the Middle Ages, when pilgrims, nobles, kings, and numerous knights arrive. But little by little the sculpture becomes more distant. There begin to be gaps between the figures. It is the decline of the road, from the 16th century to the 19th century, when there are almost no pilgrims on the route. Finally, the sculptor placed these last 2 figures that represent the modern pilgrim of the new era of the Camino de Santiago. If you want to be part of the sculpture, your place is the last one behind these pilgrims. We begin the descent. At the beginning it is steep and with loose stones, so we will have to be careful. We will cross the town of Uterga and arrive at Muruzabal. Here we have an interesting detour. We can go to the hermitage of Eunate. It is only 2.5 kilometers from here, and from there we can continue on to Obanos and Puente la Reina. It is a surprising octagonal hermitage in the middle of the countryside, full of symbolism and legends. We also have another video in this channel about this peculiar monument. Before reaching Puente la Reina, we will still have to cross the town of Obanos. Its Plaza de los Fueros, flanked by the town hall and the church dedicated to San Juan Bautista, stands out. After crossing Obanos, we will arrive at Puente la Reina. It is a town born and raised for the Camino de Santiago. It has a long main street developed in the heat of the Jacobean route, which leads to the historic bridge, the end of our journey. This bridge was ordered to be built by Queen Munia. She was the wife of King Sancho el Mayor of Navarra, a king who was very important for the pilgrims. This king was the one who changed the route of the Camino de Santiago and left it right where we pilgrims go today. Now, we pass through here those who come from Roncesvalles and also those who come from Jaca and Somport. Together we cross the Arga River and always heading west towards Compostela. Buen camino!